What's up, guys? Naftastic EDC here. Rodney, you know me. We have a package that I've had in my possession for a while. Wanted to get this video out, and I decided to do a video of disassembling it because I'm going to take a look at it and figure some things out. But this is sent in with the generosity from none other than Max Level EDC. Dominic sent it to me, and I want to send a big shout out to him and a thank you. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. He is really big into a lot of things, does a lot of varied content, and is really into multi-tools. Does a lot of multi-tool stuff, flashlights, pretty much you name it, he delves into it. Nice, generous dude. And he sent me the Shark Lock Demko AD 20.5. I've already took it out of the case, and because we're doing a disassembly here, I pulled the necessary tools out. We got a T10 for the pivot and a T6 for everything else. And I got my little mat here, sticky, that hopefully stuff won't go popping around. He told me when I disassemble it, be careful not to let the spring fly out on me. So hopefully I'll be able to contain that, and we'll see what this thing looks like on the inside together. I have not had this apart yet. I've been meaning to get to this, so we'll see how it goes. With that being said, this is a cool knife. The action is like no other. It's a really sharp edge on this fin, but once you get used to the action, you gotta rock it a little bit. To me, it's not just open it up. You can pull it back and it wants to open, but it gets stuck, and that's just me in the action. You have to give it a little bit of forward. Now, when you do go to close it, you can just, if you get the action right and the time right, see, it's sticky. I don't know if it's just me. See, it actually gets stuck, and I don't know. That was something I was explaining to him, that the action is sort of fidgety for me, and I think it's just the way that I'm opening it up. But you can see just a little bit of time I've done it just now that it is starting to tear the skin on my finger. I have sort of dry skin, but the action is nice, and it's just a matter of, I don't know if it's just, if I hold it straight down, it's no problem. It wants to close. And I reckon because I'm pulling on it too hard, I'm overloading the action on it. It's definitely a knife that you have to get used to the operation of. But once you do, you're in like Flynn. You're golden. You're good to go. And it's just a matter of getting used to it. And I have never personally held the AD20, which is its big brother. I would love to get a hold of that one also. But with that being said, let's get into this. Let's see what this thing looks like on the inside, and take a look. It intrigues me. Demko is a mastermind at the knife building process. Something that Dominic was saying was, how simplistic he makes things. He doesn't over embellish on intricacies of making something complicated, and that's always a good thing in the knife community, especially when you want to make aftermarket parts for it. So we have removed the clip, and we have one screw this side and 3 more on this side. So basically the 2 screws that are non-clip, because the clip is reversible from right to left, and the screw, and then the rest is pinned action, and all the pins go through on this. And imagine the pin screw, pivot screw pushes through, and then the blade is released in this mechanism in the back. And it does have these liners. That's the way this G10 is done, it's recessed nested liners that goes over this interior mechanism. And this is number 14 of 100, which was gotten for him at Blade Show. He has both variants. I believe it's the drop point or the clip. I think it's a drop point. And then this Wharncliffe sheep's foot. I reckon I would call this a Wharncliffe. Okay, and I get to rambling, so let's continue on. I've been really meaning to get to this before, and I just get busy, and something comes up, or I end up. I am horrible at getting distracted. I will start something and then I'll move on to something else, and I'm trying to get better about that. All right, so we got a little bit shorter screws there. We got 2 longer screws for the clip and shorter screws. I can't really see them on the screen back there, but they're shorter screws for this side, for the non-clip side. And I'm trying to do this from behind a little camera device, so and it doesn't want to come out. Here we go. Whenever I take a knife apart, I try to put the screws in a pattern, or not a pattern, but in location to where I sort of know which order, as far as short or long, or so far all of those are the same. One more on this side. Y'all, if you have time, when you go check out Dom's channel, he he's going in the process of going through a move, and he is really downsizing a lot of things and getting rid of a lot of things, and he's such a generous dude. He's sending some different things to different channels. You know, he sent this to me to take a look at, and I would definitely recommend it. And he's much more popular. He has like 4,000 subs or something like that. He's on up there. He's a big boy, big guy compared to us, or compared to me. I'm the little less than 1K still, and I'm growing, but slowly but surely. So he's got some content and some creatability to him that has allowed him to achieve more YouTube stardom, so which is a great thing. I had to give me a sip of drink. Okay, now we got the main screws out. From what I can tell, we have through clips that hold through the liner into the shark lock. And then this is real nice to see. I was thinking this was going to be a T8 pivot, but it's a T10. T10. So I first went to the T9. That feels a little loose. I said, I don't think it's a T10, but sure enough, the T10 fit. So a T10 it is. So, with this screw out, there's nothing holding it together. So, and that slides through, free floating. I'm sure it's a D-shaped pivot of some sort. It is. I can see the D shape there, the flat. And that's what someone means when they say D-shape. It has a flat on one side that lines up with a tang, and it keeps the pivot from being free spinning. For those of you who don't know, but I'm sure most everybody who's watching this video knows what a D-shaped pivot is. Sorry, I got a stuffed up nose this morning. My buddy was picking on me, or we were picking on somebody else, and about having a runny nose and being a YouTuber and constantly sucking your snot back while you're watching the video, and how it was just And then I sit here and have to do the same thing. So that's why I had a personal laugh for just a second. I shouldn't have said that nasty word. It's an ugly word. All right. And there was a little bit of Loctite on there, but it doesn't look like it was engaged or seated up yet. I did not notice it. There I go again. All right, so we got a spring in here. Let's see to make sure it doesn't fly anywhere. I don't see anything popping out. All right, so we have the nested liners. Okay, it's wanting to fly up lightly. It's got oils on it. I'm gonna try to pick it up and let y'all see the insides. Now we can see that it's pinned together. It has tangs on the back spacer. Alright, now let's lift up on this and see what happens. Okay, I see the spring now. I'm not worried about it falling out. We can see the bearing track and the D-shape area there. It has some super tiny bearings. Really tiny bearings. Take this pivot out, look at that, and make sure that it's the same on either side, that when I put it back in it won't matter. That is correct. Now the threaded little inserts, it looks like they're free floating in the liner. One side is a little tighter than the other, but there's no reason for me to take them out, so I'm just going to leave them in there for what I'm going to be doing. And then we have the blade, which this is under pressure. It's going to fly out when I move the blade. We'll take this bearing out. Boy, look how tiny. These are in aluminum or steel housings. That is tiny. Wow. Okay, it's steel. It looks like rolled steel cage. You know what I call flared bearings. And those bearings are probably, they look to be about a 1/16 in diameter, maybe a little bit smaller, maybe even 40. I don't know if I can get my calipers down in there. Zero them out. Yeah, I can't get it down in there. Yeah, that's closer to 40. It's I think if I were able to get it, I'm getting 37, but I don't know if I'm measuring it right. So because it's down in that little cage. All right, now let's slide this baby around, and I'm going to hold down on this bearing, on this cage, this shark lock, and pull this blade straight up. Now this should sling forward, which it did, because the blade was holding it back. And then we have the pivot and another bearing. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but I got this little tray back here. It's real convenient for holding all my stuff. And another bearing. And I noticed that both these bearings were laying to where the flared cage was running against the blade. So in other words, the non-flared side is running against the frame, the liner, and the flared side, the rolled edge, is going towards the blade. I normally run that backwards in my knives when I put them together. I put the flared cage against the liner or frame. Okay, now we have a spring. I'm going to take this pin out. There goes the spring. And thank the Lord, Dominic, it didn't go flying across the room. Even though this is somewhat of a standard looking coil spring, I actually have a box of a bunch of different springs at work that we use for tool and die stuff. I don't think I have any this size, and the ones I have would probably be stainless of some sort, which this is probably just a blackened stainless. But I doubt they would put a rusty steel one in there. They would say we have the collar there, which came from the back, and we're looking at these two, and they look to be exactly the same, so when I put them back, I don't have to worry about getting them mixed up. That was pretty straightforward. And then the liner on that side, or the scale, and then the liner. Pretty straightforward, stone wash, everything feels nice and deburred. Pretty simplistic design. You can see some wear marks to where that shark lock rubs back and forth. And you can see some light rubbing when it goes back and forth. And I'm guessing that action blows in and goes in. You can see it's already got some wear on it. Not wear, but polishing from the action of opening, closing, open, closing. And I would imagine that would get better over time, the action on it. And again, this jimping is very sharp on this baby. And of course, when I go to put this back together, I'll get everything clean. Of course, there's the United States patent number by Demko. My foot is falling asleep. That's why I can't sit here for so long. Guys, I'm not putting this knife back together because what I'm doing, I'm going to take some measurements and play around with it some. So this is the end of the video. I wanted to show y'all what it looked like and what was involved in the insides of a Demko 20.5. So hopefully it gives you some insights, and stay tuned for a future assembly and possible upgrade. We'll see how that goes. This is Rodney, Naftastic EDC. Y'all know me. Remember, be safe, be blessed, keep those edges right. Talk to y'all later now. Bye.